Welcome to Tea Time, my friends, a place where I muse about my gender transition experience and in the process aim to comfort and inspire others to a greater level of self-awareness. I am Artemis, and in this video we are going to be talking about 3 big reasons why I hesitated in my transition. I know a lot of people who potentially transition later in life do experience hesitation in doing so, and it sort of causes them to wonder if they're actually transgender, which I did another video that I'm going to link here in the card above when you're asking yourself whether or not you are transgender. If you need some pointers from me, if you're curious on what I think you can do to help figure that out. But I did experience some hesitation in making the decision to transition. I'm much happier that I have transitioned, but I wanted to talk about these 3 big things because maybe somebody else out there has had these similar concerns, and if it helps anybody to know that there's another person out there having similar concerns and that this is what I've come out with as being the solution to that, then I hope this helps. On this video, we are just enjoying my good old standby some matcha green tea because the Rosenvine Gift Company is taking the summer off, gearing up for the holiday season and the holiday teas ahead, which I'm greatly looking forward to. So, 3 big reasons why I hesitated in my transition and what I ultimately came to conclude to resolve those hesitations. First one, I saw the gender roles for masculine people as being very constrictive. And while I didn't like the traditional role that women have filled, I saw the role that men filled and found that to be a whole lot harder. Now, as I later found out for me personally, I was just being a lazy-ass masculine. I hated the idea of pregnancy for myself or being any kind of housewife. And while not every woman must fill this role, I can hear the feminists screeching from here, I just didn't identify with the feminine or women's role at all. Instead, I was just a deeply masculine person experiencing what Jordan Peterson calls Peter Pan syndrome. I just wanted to skirt the responsibility of being a masculine person, and coupled with that was my fear of being taken to the cleaners by a gold-digging woman, since that was much of what I had been exposed to in popular culture. And I know that sounds horrible. On this channel, I admit brutally honestly the way that I've thought and felt, because I want that out there in the open for everybody to see, and to see that I have processed it and I have worked through it and understood why that was wrong. So you see a movement called MGTOW, men going their own way, that is getting behind the idea that too much is being asked of men and that there are other ways of being, as with second wave feminism has done for women. And I won't get into the details of either of those movements here, except to note that there are these movements out there that give credence to the social concerns that I had. Ironically, also to note here, and very importantly so, is that being on testosterone and being less estrogen dominated has given me the physical and emotional fortitude to finish rounding out my masculinity and stomach some of the things that men do and they need to do for their healthy gender role. I was already well on my way there when I was born, just with what my gender was. But the hormone treatment definitely boosted my ability to finish maturing in a way that actually made me happy. And it's fascinating to me to see just how much power hormones have in determining what is you. It kind of makes you question what really is you, but we're not going to have that discussion. So, reason number 2. I didn't want certain traits like receding hair, and I didn't want to be a knuckle-dragging stench fest of a Yeti. Again, brutally honest. But also, this came down to the sad picture I had created in my head of masculinity in men because of the social influence I had around me and the unfair judgments that I had made. While receding hair is genetic and can be somewhat helped with proper diet, the rest is just what happens with testosterone, and I had to accept that if I wanted all the other things. Being in the unique position to choose to be more masculine in a transition afforded me the opportunity to cherry pick things I may have had control over. And it's pretty well documented that when we get a choice, we can enter into analysis paralysis. And that has nothing to do with whether or not we'd actually be happier as a transgender individual if we transitioned. Also, something else to note, men could do a whole lot more for their hygiene, and they should be supported in doing so. And I think culture is starting to come along with that, and they shouldn't be made fun of. Which leads me to my last reason, number 3, which is that I saw a lot of behaviors from male influences in my life that were examples of toxic masculinity. And I didn't realize that I had control over these things and could emulate a much healthier version of masculinity for myself. I'm linking in the cards above to a video I did about that as well. So for clarity's sake, when I say toxic masculinity, I mean behaviors that are unhealthy expressions of masculinity, such as the inability to talk about emotions or using anger as a means for domination. I didn't want to become the thing that I saw as negative and was concerned that the testosterone would make me that way. And it turns out that I was wrong, and it was a very naive thought. At the end of the day, all of my hesitations for transitioning turned out to be cognitive biases that I held in my head that, with therapy, cleared away and led me to continue to transition. If you are someone for whom transitioning isn't the answer, the exact opposite will be true. Your therapy will give you reasons to stay cisgender and not to transition. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, and until next time.